Mercer Goes to Town. Welcome back to Writer's Theory. I'm James. I'm here to share my 19th day of writing in an effort to write a novel in less than 90 days. So we'll get right into it. Yesterday, I shared Charles's dream of his future and ended that scene with Mercer then leaving for town. I had a realization about this sequence that I'll share at the end of this video. But for right now, let's just jump into the first part of day 19. Yeah, here I'm still trying to keep description high. I didn't want to get too much into his point of view, but I kind of felt I needed to here. Just to have a little more material to work with. But just trying to, what does it look like? What does the forest smell like? How long are they on this trail? I wanted to have a sense of time passing without potentially boring both myself and any readers for what this scene looks like as he's going down this this trail that isn't that common. But he comes to the town, and I wanted to describe a smallish town on the lake here in the Ozarks. And I know earlier in the story I had mentioned that the town wasn't that developed, but this is also a year later, so maybe the town has a chance to have grown a little bit. We meet Alice here, so trying to work on some description while still moving this interaction forward. And I wanted it to be obvious that Mercer had been into town enough that they know these people well, and that it's a regular enough visit that this is like almost friends meeting. And of course, Alice is curious where Charles is at because he's not there with them. So. So introducing 2 new characters here. 3 characters is a lot to have interactions between, so there's a lot of potential content here. And just writing is much easier when you have a lot of characters to bounce dialogue back and forth between. And that's the first part of day 19 there. So ending that first session with just... when you have so many characters in a group and they're all talking to each other, it's easy to have material to write, but then you almost want to slow down sometimes and make sure that you're conveying the message that you want, that you're remembering what an interaction would look like between 3 people, having it balanced, remembering the relationships with each of them. Like Bia is Alice's, we're assuming, mother, and would take over the conversation in terms of running the store and interacting with Mercer like he's a friend and a customer. So I thought that was an interesting dynamic. But I wanted to have just like a real, like, hey, if he goes to town frequently enough and he knows these people, what does that interaction look like? How can I portray that in a meaningful way that's still interesting and carries the story forward? So let's get on with the rest of day 19. And so I wanted it to be where Mercer had told Davy's story to the shopkeepers here. And then that's why they're selling him a bottle of whiskey. Of course, like a little bit of back and forth between accepting a gift or not accepting a gift. And so here is earlier, like I think yesterday's writing, I was talking about Charles's dream of having Angora rabbits. And for some reason in my head, I just thought that scene I had written that scene well before and not the day before. So there's not enough time for me to really have this be effective, an effective moment. And so I'm going to have to adjust that later. But so like the shopkeepers have told Mercer that they are going to get these rabbits in, and they're having that interaction where Mercer's really questioning the value of such animals. So trying to make that realistic and have it be a thing, and also doing a little research here. So I was like, were Angors even available in this time? And they were, but not giant Angors. So I had to go back and change that. I know I don't like to go back and adjust things, but so ended the day on that transaction or interaction that they're having there, and for that to land well, I need to put more space between when Charles shares that dream and then Mercer goes to the store that same day and finds out that rabbits are coming in. I want a little more space there, just so we can stew on it as readers, and also the moment kind of feels lost in Mercer's memory, and then like, oh, here's the moment that Charles has been waiting for. I need a little more time in there. Plus, I really, when I envisioned this chapter, the focus that I envisioned was this is Mercer's healing time and the time for him to make moral and ethical decisions about what the rest of his life is going to look like. And that hasn't materialized in this chapter. And so what I'm thinking I'm going to do is during the rewrite, I'm going to come back and insert a scene into this chapter between Charles sharing his dream and Mercer learning that these rabbits are going to be available in town. So that's my intent there. But I like this interaction. I like the introduction of these new characters. Mercer going to town like there's some normalcy here. I kind of like that. So with that, let me get to the line of the day. He held it up, and it did indeed remind him of liquefied sunlight. So this just being a metaphor for him looking through the whiskey bottle and reminding him of his friend and what his friend had told him about his own past. So it's a good, simple line. I like this because it's an allusion to the story that we heard from Davies earlier in this same chapter. So I think I wanted to do a lot in this chapter, and I put in these foreshadowing things, and I'm already starting to pull them out. This is just part of the process as I go through and write a story that I'm not that familiar with as I'm writing. But it's okay. I think this particular foreshadowing or alluding back to something that happened earlier in the chapter, I'm just fine with. So like that line. And that's the line of the day. So for tomorrow, I am going to carry on. He's still in the shop with these two women. And so I'm going to pick up where we left off, and Mercer is going to come to some decisions. He's going to think about where he is with things. So if you're enjoying this journey, please like and subscribe. We'll pick up tomorrow where we left off today, and I'll see you then. That is allegorous. It's none of those things. It's an illusion.